What have I done? Are they coming after me?
This week in game news, Undertale was released on Linux, Abduction has been delayed to August 22nd, 2016, the first episode of Life is Strange is now free on all platforms, Act 4 of Kentucky Route Zero was released, Cool Nation VR received an update that brought air hockey, and we have this awesome piece of Pokemon Go art from @TrudyCastle on Twitter. Thank you for your contribution to the show, Trudy. This is the Black Man and Robin Game News Update.
But will I find the truth?
Alright, now to get this week's Pokemon Go news out of the way, the game officially launched in Canada this week and, as you can guess, the servers crashed shortly afterwards thanks to all the new players signing on. Now there was a bit of frustration over in Japan this week as Pokemon Go was supposed to be launched there on Tuesday. A leaked email revealed that McDonald's would be the game's sponsor in Japan, and that there would be Pokestops at McDonald's, confirming something that many had already suspected. Now this email revealed concerns about capacity. There's a lot of excitement in Japan for Pokemon Go already. The fast food chain was worried that the hordes of excited players flocking into the restaurants would be an inconvenience. The leaking of the email is blamed as the reason for the delayed launch. The game wound up coming out in Japan on Thursday, and, quite surprisingly, the servers held up quite well. Now, thanks to Pokemon Go, Nintendo has been on a financial roller coaster that thus far seems to only go up. Their market value has climbed to $39.8 billion. For a bit of perspective, Sony's value right now is a little over $38 billion. While I am happy for Nintendo, I'm really hoping that Pokemon Go is improved in the very near future, as the game's a little bit content light right now. The in-game tutorial is extremely weak, and the game hardly teaches players how to, play. There's just not a whole lot to do. Some additional content could keep the game from burning out the way that Foursquare did. Now, in case you're just waking up from a coma and don't know what Pokemon Go is, first off, congratulations! Spend some quality time with your family. Second, all you need to know about Pokemon Go is that it's an augmented reality game that projects Pokemon into the real world for players to catch and train. It's pretty cool, but it could be a bit better. In recent weeks, the game has exploded in popularity. There has been a bit of controversy, an assortment of server woes, and other problems, but in spite of it all, Pokemon Go is doing great. If you're looking for a new GPU, this week Nvidia unveiled a shiny new version of the Titan X. Now this card boasts 11 teraflops of power and 12 gigabytes of VRAM. This is a very high-end card. From the looks of things, it seems that it'll be the sort of card you'll want if you want to play games in 4K on high settings. This new Titan X is going to cost $1,200, which, for what it's offering, is a pretty good price. It employs the Pascal architecture, which Nvidia has been using to create new graphics cards with higher performance at lower prices. The new Titan X will be available on August 2nd, 2016. I'm going to have to be honest, this wasn't a very busy week for game news. Besides some excitement over Pokemon Go and a bunch of notably cool releases, not a whole lot of interesting stuff happened. Do you know what this means? That's right, kids. It's the perfect week for a giveaway. Now this week we're giving away BOID. This RTS was just launched on Steam a couple weeks ago, and yes, I know what you're thinking, it's free to play. Now that's true, but only the game's multiplayer component is free. There's actually a fully fleshed out single player campaign, but that costs money. Today, that is what we're giving away. Entry is really easy. Now just send us a message on Twitter, or leave a comment on our Instagram post for this week's episode. We're at Black Man and Robin in both places. Be sure that you're following us. You can say whatever you want. Maybe you want to talk about Pokemon Go, tell us about something from this week's episode that you liked, or you could just say I'm here because I like free stuff. Whatever, folks, we've got games. Now you have until July 29, 2016 to enter, so be sure to hop on that.
The BOID program will lead humanity to a better place.
I remember.
In-game releases this week, I Am Setsuna came to the PlayStation 4, PlayStation Vita, and Windows. The game is a JRPG meant to harken back to the good old days of JRPGs. your Chrono Triggers and your Final Fantasy VI's, albeit with a fresh, modern coat of paint. That said, the game has a rather different spirit from those games, which are more light-hearted and fun adventures. I Am Setsuna is a sad game in which you play as a fellow named Endir, who must escort the titular Setsuna to sacrifice herself to protect the world from monsters. It's not an especially cheery game, but I have heard both praise and criticism for its story. Now, some folks are fond of the characters and style of storytelling, whereas others are disappointed by a lack of depth and the frequent succumbing to cliché. Now, the game's combat system also got some mixed reception. While it does mix things up, it also has some balance issues that turn late gameplay into a bit of a bore. So if you're looking for a JRPG with a well-paced but melancholy story, a sad, beautiful world, and not too much of a focus on complicated gameplay, check out I Am Setsuna. Now, this is the first game from Square Enix's Tokyo RPG Factory. Hopefully more will follow.
I must give my life so that others may remember. Remember the glistening of the snow, the comfort of friends. And in the face of death, I am not afraid. For you are there, beside me. So please remember. Remember me.
Virtual reality adventure game The Assembly was released on Steam, and it has a pretty exciting premise. You explore a mysterious organization, one that's described as morally ambiguous, and you make tough decisions. What makes this game particularly interesting is that you play as two different characters. The choices that you make in the game are coming from their contrasting viewpoints. The Assembly has gotten largely positive reception on Steam thus far. Though the game is quite short, it's apparently a great experience. The Assembly is compatible with the Oculus Rift and HTC Vive. Now, if you don't have a VR headset, don't despair. The game will run on Windows just fine without one. The Assembly is also due to come to the PlayStation VR later in the year.
No, I won't do this.
We're all on the same path, Madeline, just standing at different points.
That's not the only VR game released on Steam this week. Trials on Tatooine came to the HTC Vive, and it's pretty cool from what I've heard. Now, the game is short. Really short. But you still get to do neat Star Wars-y things. You hang out with Han Solo, fix up the Millennium Falcon, and fight off stormtroopers with a lightsaber. It's 5 minutes long, but it's also totally free. Everybody who's played it likes it. If you own a Vive and you're a Star Wars fan, you have to check out Trials on Tatooine. After 2.5 years in early access on Steam, Starbound has finally been completed. Now, the game, at first glance, looks a lot like Terraria. Indeed, it does play like it in some aspects. However, it is significantly more complex. Now, Starbound is a 2D sandbox adventure game in which you're free to explore a procedurally generated universe. Think of it a bit like No Man's Sky, with a lot more moving pieces. There's a Pokemon-style pet system, dynamic weather, crafting, because of course there's crafting. There are spaceships, and there's a whole lot more. I've been meaning to play Starbound because it looks fantastic. Now, the game has gotten great reception from both the press and players, who praise the abundance of content and all the stuff that you can actually do in the game. Starbound is available now on Mac, Windows, and Linux. Maybe you're fond of pastels and you like your games weird. Not too weird, but just weird enough to stand out. If that's the case, you need to check out Lovely Planet Arcade. The sequel to Lovely Planet Arcade is a quick-paced FPS in a candy-colored world in which your goal is to shoot strange, abstract enemies as quickly as possible. In the original Lovely Planet, you had a bow. This time around, you have a shotgun with unusually long range. It sort of reflects this new game's design philosophy as being faster and more streamlined. Now, in a lot of ways, it feels simplified. You can't even look up in this new game. That said, it's also a lot of fun. I've played a fair amount of it, and I've certainly enjoyed it. Looking at user reviews on Steam, it seems that not everybody feels the same way, and understandably so. Besides its being such a big departure from the original Lovely Planet, and even though it's a time trial-based game, it feels as though it plays a lot more slowly than its predecessor. Also, it's a lot less surreal. The settings and levels feel significantly less creative, which is kind of disappointing. Now, if you want to try it for yourself, you should go for it. Lovely Planet Arcade is out now on Steam for Mac, Windows, and Linux. There's been a cool new entry in the genre of games about ordinary jobs being made exciting. Breach and Clean. Now, Breach and Clean was released on Windows this week. It's totally free, and it's unabashedly weird. In Breach and Clean, you must clean hotel rooms as though you're a member of a SWAT team. You have to go and be unnoticed. Now, it's a very strange game. I haven't yet had the opportunity to try it, but it looks exciting. I mean, you blow open hotel rooms with sticks of dynamite. From what I've heard, the folks who've been playing it are enjoying it. If Breach and Clean looks like your sort of game, be sure to give it a shot. You can get it for free from ramiismail.itch.io. Released on the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 this week is Ninja Pizza Girl, a platformer about a girl who, as you may guess, delivers pizzas like a ninja while stealing with bullies. Now, Ninja Pizza Girl was released on Steam and the Wii U a while back to pretty good reviews. Check it out if you want to deliver delicious pies in a stealthy manner. The story behind Ninja Pizza Girl is pretty interesting. The game was actually developed by a family of developers based on their own teenage daughter. Legend has it that she's still delivering pizzas down to this day. And now for a brief word from our sponsor.
Are you being denied credit or paying high interest rates? Your credit score could be the problem. You need Credit Repair Pros, where we work directly with the credit bureaus and your creditors to challenge inaccurate information on your credit report to help you transform your credit score into the one you need to get the things you want, like a new car, a new home, even a new job. Call Credit Repair Pros to speak with a credit expert and find out how we'll work to improve your credit by helping remove inaccurate items from your credit reports. For over 15 years, we've helped thousands resolve their credit issues, and we've helped remove over 500,000 negative items, like charge-offs, late payments, foreclosures, even bankruptcies. So don't wait. Call Credit Repair Pros today and start rebuilding your future. Credit Repair Pros, where great credit begins. Call now for your free credit consultation. Credit experts are standing by.
Call 1-800-518-1593. That's 1-800-518-1593.
Maybe you're looking for a great deal on a game with a dying player base. No, Scrolls isn't available for free quite yet, but Battleborn is in the latest Humble Bundle. The Humble 2K Bundle 2, which features Spec Ops The Line, The Darkness 2, and Duke Nukem Forever, in the dollar tier, Civilization 5, Mafia 3, and NBA 2K in the Beat the Average tier, and Borderlands, the pre-sequel, along with Battleborn in the $15 tier. Frankly, I feel sorry for Battleborn. It's a MOBA-styled FPS that received mixed reviews. It was praised for its depth, but criticized for its mess of user interface and impenetrability. Apparently, making a convoluted game won't attract players. Who knew? Add to that the fact that the game launched around the time that Overwatch launched. A lot of people thought the game was a lot like Overwatch. Spoiler. it's not. All those factors contributed to poor sales. What's worse, the game's player base has dramatically decreased since launch. The few players that have stuck behind, however, are quite dedicated to the game. The developers of Battleborn are still hard at work on improving it. This week, it received an update that brought some general improvements, buffs, nerfs, bug fixes, and 3 new maps. Now, is it only a matter of time before Battleborn, much like 2K's other game, Evolve, goes free-to-play? Much like Evolve, Battleborn had a lot of hype at launch, followed by a sudden deflation of player base. While I haven't tried the new free-to-play Evolve, from what I've been hearing, 2K has made some great adjustments to it. Maybe we'll see those sort of things happen to Battleborn should the game ever go free-to-play. Whatever you think, be sure to let us know on Twitter at BlackmanandRobin. A neat trailer was released this week for upcoming sci-fi puzzler The Turing Test. Set to be released on August 30th on the Xbox One as well as on Windows, it's a first-person adventure game set on Europa. Now, in case you didn't know, the game's namesake comes from Alan Turing's idea for a test of artificial intelligence. The test is, a person must decide between a pair of conversational partners, which is human and which is not. The test can be conducted with a chat room, a person on a computer, and a program that's designed to mimic a person's behavior. The idea is that if the computer program can fool you into believing that it's really a person, it passes the test. The idea behind this game is that there are puzzles that only you, a person, can solve. Only you, and not the assorted robotic companions you'll have with you on Europa. Now, the game's aesthetic, and indeed the idea of testing a person with puzzles, it seems rather reminiscent of Portal, though its execution looks rather different. Here's hoping the Turing Test turns out well when it's released on August 30th.
Morning, Eva.
This week, we received a new trailer for the upcoming Gravity Rush 2. Set to be released on December 2nd, 2016, this game is a follow-up to the PlayStation Vita game Gravity Rush. However, it's only being released on the PlayStation 4. In Gravity Rush 2, you play as a girl named Kat with the ability to bend gravity to her will. Further, it was announced that this week, Gravity Rush the Animation, Overture, is currently in production by Studio Kara. You may know them for their work on the rebuild of Evangelion films. Pre-orders for the game open up on August 2nd. Finally, a new trailer was released for The Lost Arcade, a documentary on Chinatown Fair,
Last
which
night,
was at one
I
point
dreamt I went to
the last
Chinatown Fair
arcade in
again.
New York City. I watched the documentary this week and
Chinatown,
must say,
it is a
really
little
well done.
small town
It's
in the middle of New
largely
York
about the
City.
culture surrounding
And
the
dead
arcade,
center in the
its
middle of that was
history, and a lot
Chinatown
more.
Fair.
Now, it
Chinatown Fair was
manages
the
to
last
avoid
arcade
falling
in
into a
Manhattan.
lot of
The
traps
last.
that movies about retro
I never
gaming walk
stepped
right
in
into,
the arcade before.
and it's well
I
worth a
saw
watch
an
even
arcade
if
in
you're
the
not
dream.
into gaming. You can check out
They
our
kinda
full
captured that
review
old
of
New
The
York
Lost
feel,
Arcade over
which
at
was basically grime.
blackmanandrobin.com.
People coming from everywhere and anywhere, this was the place to be.
The legendary dancing chicken was there then.
It was the allure of the sounds and the flashing screen. Everyone's shaking their bodies, they're sweating. I was like, what's going on here?
I ran away from a foster home. In the daytime, I would go on the train and sweep. But at night, the arcade. For as long as I had been there had been rumors that CF is gonna close down.
Thank you, CF, for the past 30 years, man.
You'll never have that experience of a pat on the back, respect. You'll never get that anymore.
I don't want to sign a gate. To me, that would be me saying, okay, I'm done. I'm not gonna do that.
If I have to open an arcade, I'll do it. Whatever it takes, I'll do it.
Your name and the station. You get those things right, I have no problem.
Everybody had a certain group in there. There would be a top player, a fashionable dude, a beautiful girl. You know, that's how it was.
As long as there's another opponent that wants to play, I'll play with them. That's all that matters.
Well, that's it for this week's game news. For all the latest game news, reviews, previews, and interviews, follow us on Twitter and Instagram at BlackManandRobin. Follow me at Jordan_Cameron for my own views.
Now you're playing with power.
You